Tonight on the Fox 23 News at 10, the investigation continues after an Augusta police officer shoots a suspect.
It's kind of a shock when we hear about it.
How the community is reacting and what led up to that shooting. The Secretary of the Navy forced to step down. How his handling of the case of this Navy SEAL cost him his job. And karaoke with a cop.
At one time, I was like getting nervous around the cop, but I feel real comfortable.
Why police officers in Philadelphia are partying with a purpose.
Now, Fox 23 News is on your side at 10.
A weather warning tonight here on Fox 23. Both rain and snow have been falling all day across Maine. An icy mix on some roads tonight with flakes flying earlier today, making for a slippery commute. Meteorologist Dustin Bonk is live in the Weather Center tonight tracking out this system. And Dustin, there is a chance for black ice, other issues on the roadway tonight as temperatures dip, but thankfully tomorrow is going to be a little bit warmer out there.
Yeah, warmer and sunnier. We have a good start to our work week tomorrow. Tuesday looks good too, but we're still kind of in the middle of this mess. It's just been unpleasant, I think, for the end of our weekend. Have a look. While parts like Portland have barely seen anything, mostly just rain. Parts of Shelburne, New Hampshire, right across the Maine border, 10 inches of snow have already fallen, still snowing there. Avon at 7, Bethel, Farmington, Newry, all in that 4 to 5 inch range. Some of those reports, a couple hours old, so I do expect these numbers to go up before the night is done. Meanwhile, here we go. We are still seeing more of that rain and snow falling pretty much across the border. Closer look, it's starting to turn a bit more blue. Temperatures are dropping. We're seeing that blue creep a little bit closer to the coast. Most of this should remain rain, but do not be surprised if a bit of snow mixes in. Looking west, an end in sight. We're already seeing some of these winter weather advisories out west expire, but we do still have that winter storm warning in the mountains and a surrounding advisory for a few more hours yet. A quick glance at that storm tracker. Most of this wraps up by midnight and later. It does lighten up, and then we see dry weather through Monday. Monday looks good, 40s, sunshine, but do keep an eye out. Even though it's going to be drying up tonight, Dan, there may be some icy spots on the road. In a few more minutes, we'll look ahead to the Thanksgiving forecast in the 7-day.
Well, as this storm continues, a reminder, our weather app is free. It gives you real-time weather alerts, a live interactive radar, and current weather conditions right where you live. Just search WGME WX in your app store. Now to a developing story. An armed altercation in Augusta leads to a man being shot by an officer this morning. That suspect is now being treated at a local hospital while the officer is out on routine leave. Fox 23's Lauren Healy explains what led up to that confrontation.
The police chief tells us they were responding to a call with a man who had a warrant out for 2 separate charges. He says his officer fired at that man. Neighbors that we spoke with tell us they heard gunshots.
I heard about 4 or 5 loud gunshots that sounded really close.
Sarah and Raymond Orff live just a few doors down from where the shooting happened, here on South Belfast Avenue. They say it's not uncommon to hear gunshots out in the woods here, but this was different.
It didn't sound like the normal, go outside and shoot the coyote that's in your, chicken barn or something like that. So I knew there was something up, so I made sure all the doors were locked.
Officers responded to this home just after 12:30 this morning. Augusta police were helping Fairfield police as they served a warrant to 27-year-old Robert Farrington. He was wanted on domestic violence and animal cruelty charges.
Upon arrival by the officers, once they made contact with Mr. Farrington, an armed confrontation occurred between Mr. Farrington and our officer, Sebastian Guptill.
Police wouldn't say how many shots were fired or where Farrington was shot, but he was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries and is in stable condition. This is the 4th officer-involved shooting in Maine this year. Chief Mills says this is the 3rd his department has seen in 30 years. He says his heart goes out to everyone involved.
Your biggest concern goes to the individuals and your police officers and their safety. And when something like this happens, they are tragic, no doubt about it, and that's why we have the review after and the investigation to find out exactly what happened.
Officer Sebastian Guptill is relatively new to the force, but Chief Mills says he's been an excellent officer.
When you have somebody who has that training, they're fresh. They've just come out of the academy, and that's what's drilled into them. So a lot of people might say, "Wow, geez, he doesn't have a lot of time on." I wonder if that had anything to do with the situation, and I would argue the contrary, that his training is fresh. This is something that's right at the forefront with him.
The Attorney General's office is investigating the shooting. Officer Guptill is on paid administrative leave. As for Farrington, it's unsure if he'll face any additional charges. In Augusta, Lauren Healy, Fox 23 News at 10.
And new details just in tonight. Fairfield police say Robert Farrington was originally wanted for assaulting his ex-girlfriend in that town and then allegedly injuring her pet. A man is killed and 2 others hurt after a crash in Canaan. That's near Bangor. State police tell us the crash happened around 7 o'clock last night on Hill Road. They say a Mustang convertible went off the road and slammed into a tree head on. One passenger, 55-year-old Scott Miller of Clinton, was killed in the crash. 44-year-old David Johnson and 55-year-old Robert Archer were also injured. Troopers are looking at alcohol as a possible factor in that crash. Also new tonight, South Portland has a new police chief. Timothy Sheehan was announced as the new police chief on Twitter last night. Sheehan is currently the police chief in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. There he has served as police chief for more than 10 years and has been with that department for more than 30 years. The current South Portland police chief, Edward Googans, will retire on January 1st after 25 years with the department. Sheehan will begin his new role here in Maine January 13th. House Democrats are preparing to advance their impeachment inquiry even as lawmakers return home for recess. As Fox 23's Mark Meredith reports, the House Intelligence Committee could present its report to the Judiciary Committee after Thanksgiving break.
The House Intelligence Committee has not scheduled any more impeachment inquiry hearings, but the committee's chairman says it's possible more witnesses could be asked to testify after Thanksgiving.
We view this as urgent. We have another election in which the president is threatening more foreign interference. But at the same time, there are still other witnesses, other documents that we would like to obtain.
Over the next few weeks, the Intelligence Committee is expected to compile a report detailing its findings. The report would then go to the Judiciary Committee, where members could choose to draft articles of impeachment. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says there's no guarantee that the House will vote to impeach, though. Fox is told there are potential articles of impeachment under consideration, including bribery, abuse of power, including intimidation of witnesses, contempt of Congress, and obstruction of justice. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says if the House does impeach, the length of the trial could last several weeks. The timing of such a trial could also have a major impact on the 2020 presidential race. This, as GOP senators tell Fox News, they're ready for whatever comes next.
I do not think that the allegations will be summarily dismissed. I think there will be a trial, and I'm in favor of doing it in accordance with due process and let everybody offer whatever they want to in terms of evidence.
President Trump says he welcomes a trial in the Senate, although the White House has complained impeachment is preventing Congress from working on other issues like trade. The president has also recently met with GOP senators and discussed how impeachment may play out. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Former New York City mayor and billionaire businessman Michael Bloomberg announced today he's seeking the Democratic nomination for president. In a tweet today, he said, quote, "I'm running for president to defeat Donald Trump and rebuild America. I believe my unique set of experiences in business, government, and philanthropy will enable me to win and lead." Bloomberg's ad spending will top $37 million. The ads are set to start airing across the U.S. tomorrow. A person familiar with his plans say the ads will feature biographical information about Bloomberg. New at 10 tonight, the controversy over embattled Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher leads to the ousting of the Navy Secretary. Defense Secretary Mark Esper asked for Richard Spencer's resignation, and he got it. Tonight, Fox 23's Jackie Heinrich has the latest.
Defense Secretary Mark Esper firing the Secretary of the Navy over his handling of the case of embattled Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher. According to a statement from the Pentagon, Esper lost trust in Richard Spencer regarding his lack of candor over conversations with the White House about the case. Esper saying, quote, "I am deeply troubled by this conduct shown by a senior DoD official. Unfortunately, as a result, I have determined that Secretary Spencer no longer has my confidence to continue in his position. I wish Richard well." According to the Pentagon, Spencer privately proposed to the White House to restore Gallagher's rank and allow him to retire with his Trident pin. On December 2nd, Gallagher will undergo a review of whether he should be kicked out of the Navy SEALs. He was acquitted of several war crimes during his Iraq deployment, including shooting civilians, murdering a captive ISIS fighter with a hunting knife, and threatening to kill SEALs who reported him. The only charge he was convicted of was posing with the dead body of the ISIS teenager. The Navy demoted Gallagher until President Trump reversed the decision. President Trump promoting Gallagher's interview on Fox and Friends Sunday morning, tweeting, "Have no fear, all will end well for everyone." Gallagher in his interview seemed to appeal to the president.
Just want to retire peacefully with all the honors that I've earned, get back to my family, and I don't know how many times I thank the president. He keeps, stepping in and doing the right thing. And I want to let him know that the rest of the SEAL community is not about this right now.
The White House reportedly told the Navy they would not intervene. A senior U.S. official tells Fox News that given all the messy issues surrounding this case, Esper decided it would be impossible for Gallagher to get a fair hearing from the military. So he decided to allow him to keep his Trident and retire at his current rank. In New York, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Still ahead here at 10, winter weather may impact the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Why these balloons may be in jeopardy. Plus, stuffing your turkey may be emptying your wallet. A look at just how much it will cost Americans this year to celebrate Thanksgiving with all the fix-ins.
And we do have our Thanksgiving forecast in your 7-day. It gets cold and windy, that's for sure. But we're also still battling heavy rain, some snow for the rest of your night. Tell you what to expect next.